Attacks on voting, attacks on elections, attacks on state election officials is the way Donald Trump is trying to steal the midterm election. We can't let him do it. I break down for you some new reporting coming out of the Brennan Center, some piecing together everything that we're watching to make the puzzle clear to you so that we're ready to oppose Donald Trump, not at the midterms, for voting now, right now, by contacting your election officials, your supervisors of election, your state and local officials about elections. You have to do it to protect our right to vote. And I cover it all on a new podcast called The Intersection, Midas Touch, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And here's a clip. Lastly, I want to talk on The Intersection about voting and election integrity. I just did an amazing interview. Come on over to Legal AF YouTube and you'll find it. With today, actually, earlier this day's been so long. Earlier this morning, with Paul Blumenthal. Paul Blumenthal. Name might sound familiar. Sidney Blumenthal, who was in the Clinton White House, intrepid reporter and journalist, writes for HuffPo, wrote the definitive biography of Abraham Lincoln. He's with me on Legal AF with Court of History, where he and Sean Wilentz, who are both scholars and historians, put what we're watching with the Trump administration in historical perspective. And it's called Court of History because it's the highest court in the land, right? History will judge harshly Trump and the Trump administration and the federal courts, particularly the U.S. Supreme Court. Paul is Sidney's son, who's a senior writer, investigative reporter for HuffPo. And he just wrote a great piece about the Brennan Center having come out with a new investigative article about how Donald Trump and people around him are trying to, and have successfully so far, torn down the guardrails that surround voter integrity and election integrity, and how they're getting away with it in plain sight to try to steal the midterm election and beyond. And it started almost from day one, if not before. He brought in with him, and he's surrounded by, not the reasonably competent technocrats that were in his first administration that I may have disagreed with on policy, but at least they were adults. He got rid of all of them. Now, membership in the club of Trump only requires that you be, I guess, a right-wing podcaster, a Fox celebrity, a election denier, a birther denier. That gets you into the highest levels around Donald Trump because he doesn't want anybody pushing back. He doesn't want anybody telling him no. That happened in 2016. He wants all gas, no brakes, green lights, no red. And he put people in charge that shouldn't be allowed to take a White House tour, let alone run our government and pull the levers of power. So that's why you get the right-wing podcasters like Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. And you get the Fox celebrities, minor celebrities, like Pete Hegseth to run the Department of Defense, and other Fox commentators like Tulsi Gabbard and Tom Homan. That's why you get the political hacks that are all about, that have converted the Department of Justice into the political campaign arm of the Trump administration, like Pam Bondi, like Harmeet Dillon, head of the Civil Rights Division. Look her up. Like Ed Martin. So once you put that group in, there's nothing to stop Donald Trump. That's why the Department of Justice has lost any shred of integrity or dignity and can't and will not be seriously taken by anybody in America as the good faith law enforcement unit. They're just not. They say they represent the United States of America when they go to court, but the federal judges don't trust them. Appellate court judges don't trust them. And we here on the Midas Touch Network and at the Intersection don't trust them. So Donald Trump first brings that group in. Then he starts pardoning the Jan 6th insurrectionists because he needs to rewrite history and change history. Now he's going after all the law firms that would have, with their pro bono programs, would have tried to stop him in the courts about his attacks on voters and voter registration and voter data and election interference. He got rid of the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, which had said that the last election was the most secure election they've ever covered. He mothballed and shuttered them, hollowed out all money for elections and votings, and then started to issue in March executive orders directed at states who are the sole arbiter of how to run elections, even federal elections. That's by Constitution. It is the states that determine the time, place, and manner of elections. It's the states that, even federal, it's the states that determine what the ballots are going to look like, what the voting machines are going to be used, how they're going to be counted, when they're going to be counted, and what are the dates they're going to be used for counting, early voting, late voting, all of that, mail-in voting, that's all at the state level. Donald Trump doesn't like that. So he started issuing executive orders. And certain states, you know which ones, you know which color they are, started to fold. Well, okay. Can I see all of your voter data, including the things I'm not allowed to see under the federal statutes? Yes. Yeah. Other ones like blue state secretaries of state and clerks of court, clerks of and supervisors of election, all said some version of go jump in the lake. One, it's illegal for me to turn over this data. And two, we run our own elections. No, I'm not going to let you go rummaging around my voting equipment. See, supervisors of election get very upset when there's a suggestion that somebody, even in the federal government or in the White House, has the ability or has made a request to go rooting around in voting machines over my dead body. So this is the fight that we're watching, because they're starting to use operatives like Stephen Miller and other people you've never heard of to go after these clerks, these election workers, these supervisors of election, to get them to, quote unquote, cooperate with the White House and turn over the treasure trove of data, the voter data. And this is where these new lawsuits that are being filed by Democracy Forward, by ACLU, by attorneys general come into play to stop Donald Trump dead in his tracks from doing this. And they're getting positive results in the courts trying to protect voter integrity and voting rights. But when you hear the Trumpers and the MAGA talking about, this false narrative of they're the defenders of the vote, they're the defenders of election, just turn that upside down, because they're lying to you. Welcome back. They finally gave me my own podcast. 5 years in the making. It's called The Intersection. Still doing Legal AF podcast, of course, Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. But on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I can spread my wings on a show on the Midas Touch Network. Need some help there, though. It's brand new. We got about 300,000 people joining us. Find out what you're missing if you're not there already. Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the video version, the recording. And then it's up, of course, all week on the Midas Touch Network. And free versions of it, or at least, commercial-free versions of it up on the Legal AF Substack and Patreon. But also audio. We need some more loving on the audio side. So if you come over and listen and download and follow the audio version of The Intersection, leave 5-star reviews and comments, that really helps. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event, by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.